Are you up yet?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I look like Mike Fedorczyk. Do you think, Kyle, you got everything ready?
We're all
Sound
good.
and everything good to go?
Yep.
All right. Well, good evening, and welcome to our weekly Rumble Updates program here as part of the Rumble Mumble. My name, of course, is Larry Bose, the promoter of the Rumble in Fort Wayne, and joining me again tonight is Kyle Dager from Grip Motorsports and Marketing. He has joined forces with us for the second year doing our marketing and social media, and he also does the production of this program. So if you like it, give him a thumbs up. If you don't like it, let him know. But he does a lot of work, and proud to have him as part of our team. Good evening. And Kyle, are you ready for week number 2?
Absolutely. I'm excited. As you said, this has been a pretty cool little show to produce over the past 2 years. We kicked it off last week with Joe Ligori, which was a pretty fantastic show. Heard some pretty cool stories. I think within a day or two we had over like 2,000 views. So it was pretty good. Great way to kick off the year. I think he was actually the only person to appear on a Rumble Mumble twice. Last year he was our very last guest, which was on
at the Coliseum,
which was on practice day. So I don't think too many people tuned into that just because they were already there. So it was pretty cool to kick him off this year with
I think 2,000. That's very, very impressive, and that's great. So now up to the updates. Last week the question was, is there going to be a Rumble 23 this year? And if you remember, at that time my response was that the folks at the War Memorial Coliseum and Expo Center were working on our behalf and had submitted a proposal to the Allen County Health Department. I met just about 2 hours ago at the Expo Center with Randy and Brian in April, and was told that the approval was given, but the capacity limit is at 2,000 people. Now we're hoping that as the Rumble draws closer, it's still 2 months away, that the COVID numbers in Indiana may go down, which would allow us to bring the capacity up.
Okay, so just to be clear, we did get the go-ahead to have a Rumble in Fort Wayne December 18th, December 19th this year?
As it stands right now, yes, with the move-in on Thursday night, December 17. Now, with that being said, we need to remind everybody that these dates are just a little bit different from the past few years, only because of the way Christmas falls this year on the weekend. Rather than go midweek, which was tried before with minimal success, we opted to go the full weekend before. So it's 1 week before Christmas.
So you guys heard it here first. Do your Christmas shopping early and have your Christmas parties at the Rumble this year.
I like that thinking. That's good thinking. But now we have to get back to business. And we got the approval, but it's kind of bittersweet. As we talked, with the reduced capacity of 2,000, which is less than 50% of what we had last year. No racetrack promoter likes to give out numbers, but I can tell you that that's less than 50% of what we had last year. We have to make some decisions, and my little bald head is getting even balder trying to think about that. And what's going to help, and it's tough, but sponsorship. And I hate to beg and I hate to plead, but if we can get some sponsorship coming on board, that will help us a little bit. It won't put more people into the building, but it will help crunch the numbers, which right now it's very close. So we're looking at it. I'm going to digest what was given to me today, and we hope to have more news next Thursday.
Yeah, and I don't think the Rumble is alone in having to make changes and adjustments to how they operate, and a lot of rules being put in place for us and for a lot of people for social distancing requirements.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because social distancing is paramount. That's part of the proposal, and pardon me while I shuffle. I mean, I'll just kind of show this. I don't know if it will go on the camera or not, but this is the plan that was submitted, and you take the grandstands, and they're going to be sold like in pads, and the other seats are going to be marked off. So there's only 1,335 seats, which means 600 and some aren't going to have a seat. They'll be walking around in the grandstands, and masks. Nobody wants to wear a mask. I mean, racers are rebels, but I talked to Rob Deere from the Quarter Midgets, and he made a very interesting comment to me. We're in the same boat at Columbus at the Ohio Expo Center at the Hog Barn, masks. And Rob said to me, he says, you know, I hate the mask. I don't want to wear a mask. But if it came down to the fact that if I wear a mask, I can be at the racetrack with my family and my son rather than sitting on the couch watching television, I'm going to wear the damn mask. And so if everybody would take that mentality and understand that, I mean, I'm not whining, but I am, but this is a difficult situation and we're all going to have to make some exceptions.
Yeah, I think the key here is that we all know that the Rumble in Fort Wayne is going to happen this year, December 18th, December 19th. So you heard it here, and I'm sure you and your team are going to kind of continue to keep us updated on that.
I am, and we're already reached out to our hotels. Our host hotels are going to remain the same: Holiday Inn, Hyatt Place, and the Ramada Plaza. And I'm going to bring in Jason Ormsby. He's our guest tonight. He'll be coming on in about a minute, but we'll come on in, Jason, and we'll save some of the shuffling around here. I just want to emphasize that the options are going to be tough. We cannot run the program as we have in the past on those numbers. So we do have some options, and earlier we were discussing this with Jason, and we do have the capability of going the Saturday and Sunday after Christmas. I know that's the day after Christmas. We've done that before. Possibly splitting up divisions, running some one weekend, another. I mean, I don't know, and we welcome your comments, constructive comments. You can send them to Rumble in Fort Wayne at gmail.com, and we'll look at them. But I want everybody to understand that whatever decision we make, don't take it personally. It's just our hands are tied, and we have to do what we have to do. So with that being said, welcome, Jason Ormsby. We're up here in Warsaw, Indiana.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Jason, you and I go back a long way, and I promised I wouldn't bring up some of the situations, so I won't right now, but maybe we'll go into that. But, I was going through, trying to do some research on you, and I went through your Facebook page. And, if it's on Facebook, it's official. So I was looking, and I've seen that you run go-karts, did very well out at Akron Speedway. You run, of course, the winged and non-winged 600s up at the Rumble. You've driven a dwarf car on the asphalt at South Bend, and looked like you were active in RC racing.
Yeah, a little bit. We just started the dwarf car stuff this summer. Ran 3 times at South Bend. A little different used to than the dirt we're used to, but it's coming along pretty good. We're gonna go to Springport, Michigan this weekend and run.
So let's go back to the Rumble. You run the winged and the non-winged. Why?
Just to get more seat time.
And do you have a preference over the two?
No, it doesn't matter. It's a Rumble. We'll run anything there just to go.
Is that? And then what do you run outdoors? Winged or
Mostly.
Indiana has like so many different 600 classes.
It's mostly non-wing, just because it's easier for a fat guy to get in without wing on it.
There's only a handful of people that run, the wing non-wing duo at the Rumble. Is there a difference in the way you approach driving that? Do you have to get in a different mindset, or how hard is that doing both in the same weekend?
There's not much to it different. They pretty much handle both the same way. The wing's not that much of a factor in there.
Okay.
We talked about earlier. We were talking about you, Larry Joe, John Ivy, Bill Dunham, Mark Zunbrun. I mean, guys that have been there since I started with Tony Barhorst, like 14 years ago, I think. How do we get, like I said, the state of Indiana, you've got 3 tracks that run on the same night. And I mean, there's cars out there. What would it take to get them to come indoors, or what is the theory of not racing indoors?
I think they're right now it's fear. They're fear that stuff's going to get tore up and they're gonna ruin their stuff. But I've tore up just as much stuff outside as I have inside.
You know, I think I've heard that from a lot of people, and I'm not so sure the attrition rate is really that strong. We've had some of the young kids come in, but I don't know if Kyle, if you got all the statistics, but you look at the win list over the past few years, it's been a lot of the same people. Although I think somebody in Larry Joe's car was like a first-time winner a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So we've had some, and you've got, how many starts did you come up with, Kyle?
So yeah, we have some pretty impressive statistics. You've had 40 Rumble appearances, so that's got to rank pretty high up there in the all-time start list. You won the non-wing race in 2014, and honestly, my favorite, the one that really shocked me is you've qualified for 15 out of 16 non-wing features since we added the class in 2013.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
Pretty consistent, yeah. You know, Jason, watching you race.
Here we go.
No, I mean, I guess I can cuss a little. It's like you're hell-bent for election. I mean, you give it 100%. You don't give an inch. You're out there to win, and you're aggressive.
That's what I'm paid to do.
Make the big bucks, huh?
You know, I've ran a few features with you at the Rumble, and I don't want to say I hated to race against you, but I hated to race against you.
I mean, none of it's deliberate. It's just the drive, and like you said, you're there to win. I have to ask, you've been running the 51 since I known you. Is there a reason behind the number?
That was my brother's number, and when we started racing the 600s, they were his cars, and we just ran that number, and that's where we went.
Speaking of your brother, I need to say hello to him. Him and I have had a few words, but I think we all have. And the neat thing is, it's the heat of the moment. I mean, how many times, I remember one time I think you got mad, took the steering wheel off and threw it across the infield. So I just picked up the steering wheel, hit it in the infield, and wouldn't give it to you till the end of the night.
I have to ask, have you ever been hit with a flag by Larry Bowes?
No.
Really?
I've been drug out of the car by the cops, but I've never been.
Well, you know, the Rumble in Fort Wayne, you're indoors. It's for anybody. I'm sure everybody that's watching knows about the Rumble, but it's a makeshift track. It's flat. It's I think the straightaways are 270 feet long, so there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of room for error, and sometimes there's not 2 grooves, but you have to try to make 2 grooves.
So like you said, you know, being a flat concrete track, uncooked syrup, obviously unlike anything you race against all year, what is that process like preparing for it, you know, in the garage and getting ready for the Rumble in December?
It's just going through the cars and making sure everything's tight. It's like a second nature, I guess. It's easier to go in there and run on that for some reason because we like it so much. I mean, we struggle a little bit on the dirt, but in there it's just, I don't know, we've done it so long, it just, everything feels right.
Can you use a notebook of notes from previous year, or do you just throw it out and judge by what's going on that particular year?
No, usually it's chasing the track. The track changes so much. So, I mean, when you go in and practice at 1 o'clock and you don't run again until 7, I mean, the track, it's just a chase.
You know, we hate to dwell on that, Kyle, but that seems to be the common story. Everybody comes in and says, you know, it's a concrete paved track, yet it's like dirt in that it's different almost every time you go out there.
It keeps everybody honest.
You know, Jonathan and AJ Lasecki came on last year helping with the tech and stuff, and they worked all winter long on trying to not change the specs, but to tighten up the specs. And your input on that?
I think it's going to help a little bit, just trying to get everybody back on the level playing field, trying to get the true dirt cars for the dirt class to come in and be competitive. But they're still going to do a little bit of homework to try to figure out what's going on.
You know, we probably should clarify a little bit. We've been saying winged and non-winged, but basically the theory is the non-wing are supposed to be the dirt setup, just like you run outdoors on dirt. And the outlaw is more or less run what you've run with just some like height requirements and things, with height, with, you know, basic requirements. So that's the difference between the two. And it used to be just one class, and then Tony Barhorse broke it into two because, good Lord, I think when the 600 started, they were getting like 50 a night or something like that. And, but now the numbers are doing, I think last year everybody made the feature both nights. And, you know, that's good. We'd like to see more cars, but maybe this year with the restrictions placed upon us, we may have to limit the number of cars. I mean, I hate to say that. It might have to be an invitation only and just 16 cars that will make the feature. I mean, I hate to see it come to that.
Do I get a spot?
I can't answer that right now.
I think if you slip a little cash under the table, maybe.
No, I'm sure. All right, let's. Cal, do you have anything right now that you want to bring in?
Yeah, we do have a few comments here. Cole Sink chimes in with, we look pretty official up here, so appreciate that. Jason Ormsby is my hero. I'm not sure if that was a typo or something. That was from your buddy Jason O'Hara. That has to be a typo, right?
Yeah, he must have screwed something up.
Yeah.
I have to share with you folks, we try to line up our guests a few weeks ahead of time, and so about 2 weeks ago, I messaged Jason Ormsby, and I said, Jason, we'd like to come to Warsaw and have you be our guest on the Rumble Mumble. His response, I'll have to check with my agent. So I got a pretty good chuckle out of that.
We also have Josh Ross. He was the winner. And
There you go,
yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So he commented, or somebody just mentioned that?
They just mentioned that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he was driving for delivery. Have you ever thought of putting anybody else in any of your cars and not running both?
We put John Ivy in our car one year. We had two cars there when they were still one class. And I blew the motor up in my car, and I had to sit in the stand and watch John win the feature in my car. So ever since then, there hasn't been anybody else in there.
Yeah, I can. Hey, you've gone up to Atlantic City too, and that is a phenomena up there for, I think what do they call you up there, TQs?
Yes.
But it's basically like your outlaw car?
Yeah.
Okay. And they pack the place, and I mean, they get, 40 of them or more, and it's a little bull ring. They start 24 on a track that I think is smaller than the Rumble, and it's awesome. But what possessed you to go up there?
It's indoor racing. It's if we could race every weekend indoors, that's what we do.
Sponsors.
Yeah.
It's expensive to run indoors as far as our behalf, and trying to find a building. I mean, some of the figures that maybe people don't understand is that is an expo center where I think last week they were selling ladies' purses in there, different things. So you guys put a lot of rubber down on the floor, and we have to pay to clean that up, and that's $5,500. That's just one of the expenses that people maybe don't understand.
Just think of the tire bill we put in there, though. All these guys.
Yeah.
More than $5,500 with rubber laying in there.
Yeah. Makes Lucia happy, right?
We need a way to get all the rubber off the track and just make it into tires and just sell the tires.
Recycle it. Yeah. There we go. Let me ask you this as a controversial thing, and you get the driver's side, and then you get the fan side, lining up the event. Fans like an invert. The drivers like it straight up. How do you compromise and get a good race? I mean, would you have the magic answer?
I think you have to have an invert, like an 8 to a 0 invert, and you have to roll that dice. The guy that wins the first heat race rolls that dice in the infield. And that
After the heats.
After the heats, after qualifying, after everything. So we don't know what it is until It could be 0 straight up, or it could be invert.
You know, I like that because last year I changed the invert a little bit, and the second night people are already sandbagging. They knew how to beat the invert, and that's not good.
John,
among
sorry, John.
among many. So that's a tough thing. It really is, because people want competition. They thrill on competition. They don't want to see a parade. And so I kind of like that. We could draw like a fan from the grandstands or something like that.
Yeah, we did that last year with the midgets, where we had the top 4 qualifiers or heat race winners, and they came on the track with the fans and did their redraw and did the fast qualifier dash, which was pretty cool to see. What did you think about doing that with the 600?
We did that in Atlantic City, I believe. They went out there, the top 8 guys, and just drew a chip out of the hat, and that was your starting spot.
In a dash or in the feature?
For the feature.
Oh, okay.
We have Kevin Williamson chiming in here with Madhouse restarts. That might be interesting. I don't know.
What kind of restart?
Madhouse restarts.
What's that?
I'm not really sure, but it sounds.
Come on,
fun.
Kevin, explain yourself.
Kevin, we're gonna have to dive a little deeper into that.
Let's see here. I tried to come. Oh, here's a good one. You're talking about me and that. So, Jason Ormsby just retires, and he's given the opportunity to be an official at the Rumble in Fort Wayne. What official does he want to be, and what would he do different? This requires Jason to think. This is scary.
An official at the Rumble. I think I just want to be a corner worker. I don't want to be an official.
You don't want to have to make a call?
Nah, I don't think I want to make calls.
I would absolutely. I know that's your question, but I would absolutely love to be the flagman that just hits everybody with the flags. And
You guys, I hate to break the news to you, but I have a torn rotator cuff, and I'm not going to get surgery, so it's doubtful that I'm going to get the flag this year. So I can still use the left hand, so I could probably take a lead pipe instead of a flag.
Oh no!
And use my left hand. Hey, who do you want to give credit to? Who do you want to thank for helping you out over these years?
Well, I got to start with my brother. I mean, he's the whole reason we're doing this whole stuff. My wife and my daughter, I got to get them in there. I'll be in trouble. Right now, I'm driving a car for Jeff Bilzik, driving his dirt car and driving his dwarf car. So he's a part of it. And there's just everybody down through the line. Kevin Williamson, I drove his stuff. Ken Adgate up in Michigan, I drove his cars. They've all been a part of it, but mostly John. He's the guy.
Do you have any sponsors? Yeah, you have some sponsors.
Just J&J Termite and Pest Control.
How appropriate!
Stone's Custom Services. That's about it. Those
Okay.
two guys.
All right.
So I think it's cool, doing the Rumble Mumble, going out to see everyone's shop and everyone's race cars, and just meeting more of the Rumble racers. What do you do for a living, and what's your life outside of racing?
I'm a foreman on a bridge company. We build bridges on the highway. Just do state work mostly.
Wow. I didn't know that. I think the fans find that interesting because they don't know. I mean, like Keith Owsley, I never pronounce his name. Sorry, Keith. I mean, operates a funeral home. I mean, the occupations are just amazing out there. I think Johnny works for Mosher Construction, or he used to, and he does a lot of highway and bridge work and stuff like that. So I asked you where the outlaw car was.
They're out in the other shop, covered up. It's not time to break those out yet.
How long does it take to get ready?
We usually work last minute crews, so it's we'll probably start on this weekend, get going. We got some work to do to the orange car.
Orange. I always thought all your cars were orange, but then I was going through Facebook and you had a multitude of them. But they're always sharp. Who does that? Who does your vinyl work?
John did all the orange car and the yellow.
Really?
J.R. Ryman did the yellow car. But yeah, John's done all our vinyl for years.
I mean, if we had Best Appearing Car Award, you definitely would be in the running, and that might be something we need to do amongst the fans.
We might have to
Start
do
something
that.
like that. Yeah. You got started at Akron Speedway, just down the road.
No, I started off racing motocross
Oh, okay.
in the late '90s, and then we started running go karts there for a while till '04, and then once '04 we started running the 600s.
Now, motocross, is there a course around here, or did you have to travel?
Yeah, there's one in North Webster, but yeah, there was no career for me in motocross.
We're here in Warsaw, and you're kind of a young pup yet. Do you remember the Warsaw Speedway?
Yeah, that's where.
I mean, it's not too far from here, right?
Yeah, it's about 3 miles down the road.
Okay.
That's where John raced. We used to go there every weekend.
I was fortunate to get there one time, and it was a happening. I mean, Warsaw was kind of the place in Indiana to be.
Yep, it's kind of a raw deal when they shut that down, but.
Has Kevin explained himself yet?
We do have an explanation now. So it's any car in the lead lap can start on the outside. A choose cone goes on the front stretch, and the first one to take the outside gets to be the leader for the outside row.
Kevin, that requires thinking, so no. Sorry. Go back to shooting your fireworks at 4th of July. Let's see here. We talked about the crew. We talked about Atlantic City. Specific goal. You know, you said you'd go there to win, but define that a little bit more. I mean, do you have to judge the competition? Do you watch the other guys, or do you just go in with your mentality and that's the way it is?
I think if you can go in there and win either one of those classes, you're doing something spectacular. When you got to run against, like I said, you run against Ivy and Schroff. Cap, all those guys are super fast in there, and if you can get one up on them, you've done something.
Need to put in a couple quick commercial announcements here, unselfish plugs, but we want to remind everybody that Rumble 23 this year, December 18th and 19th. Stay tuned on what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. Next week, I just signed the contracts today with the host hotels while I was in Fort Wayne, so we'll be announcing the racers' rates on that, and they are going to work very closely with us. If something comes up and you have to cancel, there's not going to be a cancellation fee or anything. Everybody's working very well with us. Talked about 2,000 viewers last week, and the thing is, you can watch it anytime during the week. We sure would love to have a sponsor's name in front of here, and it wouldn't cost much. If somebody wants to chip in and help with travel expenses and everything like that, and would like to become a Rumble Mumble sponsor, I'm sure, Kyle, you bring that up quite a bit on social media. We get the signage here and everything else. If you are interested, just, again, same email address, comments, sponsorship help, rumbleandfortwayne@gmail.com. And we've got a few more minutes here to go with Jason. And then in closing, we'll go ahead and announce our guest. Actually, for the next 2 weeks, we've got them lined up.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. We have some pretty cool ones coming up, some pretty special guests. But we're doing that later.
Right.
So stay tuned.
All right, here. Jason, what else do you want to bring up here? You're a man of few words, and you vowed that you would talk more than Larry Joe, and you've already done that. So you gained 1+ here. So we're really excited about that. What do you think about the impact of moving it before Christmas this year? The week before Christmas is kind of shopping, Christmas parties, but like Kyle said, maybe we should make your party at the Rumble.
I think it's Rumble racing, and it's time to go no matter what day it is. So if it's before Christmas or after Christmas, it's just a place to be.
Do you think midweek would have been better on a Wednesday, Thursday?
Didn't we run one year that was like a 3-day deal? It was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or something like that.
Yeah. The third day was terrible. I remember that. And neither day was spectacular. I mean, we're coming off of a very good year, and it's a shame that COVID came in because we had a lot of momentum going, and we're going to lose some of that this year. And again, I hope people understand that the decisions we make are going to be tough. They really are. Yeah, we won't go into it. We discussed some options, but let's not open that can of worms just yet. So, again, we're welcoming thoughts on that. So, I have to ask you this. We are, like, around a bunch of houses. You ever, like, fire the car up, and what do the neighbors think about that?
We run around the block every once in a while, just
Do
to
you?
clean it out, yeah.
And are you friends with the police department?
Oh, they haven't been down here yet, so we've been pretty lucky.
Awesome. Did any of them, like, come to the races at all?
No. I don't really know much of my neighbors. I know this guy just moved in over here, but I haven't did much talking
Is
to
that
him.
right? But they know you by the car,
I'm
huh?
sure.
Did they come out and watch?
No, they probably scream and yell, but
So, yeah, we're here in Warsaw, Indiana with Jason Ormsby. We're going to kind of wrap it up here. We've, wow, 23 minutes just goes by so quickly. Anybody else chiming in there? Is our good buddy Steve Clay watching tonight?
I haven't seen him, but we did get one more question from Kevin Williamson. What is the least favorite thing you've ever raced?
I raced bicycles in high school once, and I didn't like the pedaling part.
That
But
sounds like a lot of work.
That was too much work for you, right? How much, when you get to the racetrack, how much do you drive or do you work in the car? I mean, are you a driver or are you a working mechanic driver?
Well, I try to help. Our buddy Lou Ciccone told me that I should be a driver, not a wrench. So,
Okay.
but I still do some of the helping.
How do you, Kyle, you race also. How does a driver come off the track and relate to the pit crew what needs to be done? I mean, you know, they have their theory, but you got your butt in the seat.
I'm always told I'm not very good at doing that. So,
Honestly, I struggle with the same thing, and especially at the Rumble, where you spend all year running outdoors, and you go indoors and you try and explain how the car feels, from a dirt perspective or from whatever perspective that you usually race, and it just doesn't translate, and you can't set up the car the same way you do out there. So,
an indoor happens. The laps are so fast that on the third lap you forget about it by the time you get to the fifth lap. So it's
Remind me, what are the lap times you turn?
probably
it's
nines.
I think
gotta
it's
be about
8, 9. I
seconds,
think
yeah.
the fast are in the high 8s, and the majority of the fields like in the low to mid 9 seconds. So you got. I mean, do you get dizzy out there?
No, not too bad.
Okay.
But I'm dizzy most of the time anyway. So.
You heard that here, folks, and I didn't say it. Well, Jason, we thank you for hosting us up here in Warsaw, Indiana tonight. And we're kind of talking about our guests for the next 2 weeks. And it's kind of a J thing. We started off with Joe Liguori.
Mm-hmm.
This week, Jason Ormsby.
Yep.
Next week, we're going up to Edgerton, Ohio, and talk with Jason Deach, who he come up through go-karts into ASA, now our main sponsor, and he's got a lot of stories and has been very good for racing. And then the following week, it's Justin Peck. So it's JJJ. And so Austin Niemeyer, we'll get back to the A's pretty soon. But I think we pretty much, well, we won't do John Ivey. We've already done him. And Jason O'Hara, you'll have to wait. That's another J. But we'll mix up the alphabet. We're every Thursday.
7:23. Obviously, we'll be doing our new segments at 7:15. So tune in early for that. And like you said, we're keeping on with the Jays. I'm pretty excited for those too. Jason Deach and heck, even Justin Peck, both of those have become pretty synonymous with the Rumble. So I'm pretty cool, pretty excited to see their perspectives and their stories about the Rumble.
So if you like the show, give us a like, and if you have comments or suggestions to make it better, let us know. Nobody's perfect, and you only learn from comments and suggestions. So we thank everybody for joining in tonight. Remember, Rumble Mumble every Thursday.